This is the FuelBot for the SV650, and essentially what it does is it turns the tachometer into a dual-purpose RPM gauge as well as fuel gauge and MPG gauge. To hook it up, it plugs into the speed sensor. On this naked SV, the speed sensor is in the headlight shell. I've got that open already. What to do is disconnect that 3-prong plug. Plug it into the speed sensor. This gives the unit power and ground and access to the speed sensor signal. And then the third plug plugs into the FuelBot harness, and I'll show that after the little demo. So that tucks into the headlight shell. Now when you turn on the motorcycle, the first thing you see is the tach sweeps up to 12K, and that's a self-test to make sure everything's working. And it starts up in defaults to RPM mode, so when you start the bike up, everything acts as just normal tach mode. The select button is over here on the tach perch, and if you push that 2 times, 1, 2, the tachometer swings up and shows the fuel level. Right now we've got about 69% fuel remaining. There's a third mode that is instantaneous MPG. Push the button 3 times, 1, 2, 3. Right now, since the bike is not moving, the instantaneous MPG is 0. There's a mode 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and that shows average MPG for the current tank. Right now we're getting about 45 or so miles per gallon. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and the tachometer will sweep out to show you how many gallons you have. So that was 2.894. So 2.894 gallons. We'll let it do it again. So it pauses. That's 2.89. Now it's 3. So in that about 20 seconds, it's idling. It has used about 1,000th of a gallon. Now there's another mode. Again, something that you don't have to access very often, but if you're curious to know how many gallons has been used, that's mode 6, with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and it shows that this has used 1.30. So 0.09. Show that again. It pauses and then repeats, and it'll just sit there and repeat until you change mode. So that's 1.30 is represented by 10, 1.309. So to hook it up, the FuelBot harness is here, 6-pin connector on this side. And right here is the select button, which is bolted up to the clutch perch here. There's an optional white wire that can connect to the flash capacitor. So right now on this bike I've got it hooked up to both just for test purposes, so I can hit this button 1, 2, and that tells me fuel level or 1, and it's back to RPM mode. Either to the flash capacitor or to the push button. Choose one or the other, whichever is easiest or what you would prefer. Then the gray wire here connects to the fuel injector number 1, and that's located underneath the gas tank under the fuel box. And that's what the FuelBot uses to measure how much fuel has been used. And the last connection here is the brown wire, and that hooks up to the gauge plug. And to install that, pull the gauge plug out, and then with a pin or paper clip you can stick in the hole in the top here and release the brown black wire. That's the stock wire from the SV that drives the tach. And you pull out the stock wire, and in place plug in the wire from the FuelBot, and that's what allows the FuelBot to take control of the tach needle. And then the last connection is the stock wire from the SV. You connect up to the orange on the FuelBot harness, and that's used to allow the FuelBot to display the proper RPM. So you plug that back in, and that's the hookup. Now there's one more thing I'd like to show, and that is this LCD display. This display was used just for debug and checkout. It allowed seeing what's going on and the variables inside the microcontroller, but you plug it in, turns out we get some pretty good information. You get to see a lot of things at a glance. We put it into mode 1. So in the bottom right hand corner you see the mode 1. F is percent fuel. We got 68% fuel remaining. Down in the bottom left hand corner is distance till empty. Right now there's 130 miles left on this tank. Upper right is miles. It's 62.31, which tracks pretty closely with what the SV odometer reads. And in the upper left hand corner is average miles per gallon. Right now it's 45.9. If you go to mode 2, you get a real-time display of the gallons. It's showing 2.843 gallons. The accuracy is really pretty good. The measurement on the full tank of gas usually is comes out accurate to between 1 and 2%, which 2% on 3 gallons is only about 8 ounce difference. So when you see 70 or 68% fuel remaining, that's right on accurate. Go back to tack mode. 1, 2 for fuel gauge. 1 back to tack. And that's the FuelBot. I hope you like it.